So here is a book sent to me by Anthony James, and giving feedback on this book. I can see here it's not making any sales. I don't know if it ever has made any sales. I wonder if it is actually 9 years old. Well, the first thing, I do see that it's a Kindle, available on Kindle. There's no paperback, which I would suggest for any book that's not a consumable book like activities or coloring books, to make it available as a paperback also. Now, the first thing, of course, that I see, the first thing that will come to get my attention, like would anybody's attention, is the cover. Now, the cover is very unprofessional. That's the first thing. I would just get a professional cover designer to redesign it. They have to have an idea of what the book is about so they can design it and, integrate all of the aspects. I see, you're trying to talk about two different countries and that you're trying to say that it's a true story, compelling. We're giving a little bit of a summary. So I don't think you need to give a summary. More of that could be on the back side. I would focus more on a title. The title should probably take out the majority of your cover because the image is actually not even that important. It's mostly a title and maybe your author name, even though that's not important, but I would even keep it around that size and maybe at the bottom, but the title would be large. I was scrolling down and see, this is the size of the books when they show up, whether on the search or in the sponsored or also bought. This is the size. So if you can't read the text, like you can read this where it says Bootstrap Entrepreneur, this one I would say is a title that definitely needs work. Even though they have a lot of reviews, you don't know how they're getting those reviews, but the title is not very clear. It's not bold. It's not large, fully staffed. This is obviously something that you can read. I'm not saying this is a great cover, but it is at least readable. So you can see this is probably the best cover out of the ones that are down here. So just like that, I would create a new cover. Now, 2.5 weeks does not really tell me anything at all about what this book is about. And if I don't know what this book is about, then definitely Amazon doesn't know what it's about. So it cannot rank you in any keywords and readers are not going to know what this book is about. So it's not going to be found. So unless you are getting external traffic or you have a large audience and you tell them, oh, I have this book and this is what it's about, go get it, you're not going to get any sales because you're really depending on Amazon and all of Amazon's customers. And most of us, when we are publishing books, we just depend on Amazon and Amazon's customers. Even if you have friends and family that buy your book, you can only get so many people to buy your book. And that doesn't even help with your rankings. That might give you some reviews, but it won't help you get seen and you'll just run out of sales. So I have to understand what your book is really about. Is it a biography or is it a story like a novel, but it's just based on a true story? So I can't really tell. I did look at the read sample. I do see your content and I did read a little bit through this and you're talking about your story, but of course I don't know what the rest of the book is really about. That's just the introduction too. So even the introduction, if it's really just your story, then it's mostly like a biography. It's mostly a biography. And unfortunately, biographies or autobiographies are not profitable books. So that is my first suggestion and lesson for anybody who wants to publish a book. If your goal is to write your story, because you have a story or you want to share something, maybe because you want to warn people. Warning people is one thing, but just sharing your story is not going to sell. It's just not really going to sell, or it's very unlikely that it will create income for you. And that's the goal of what most people want. Now, if you just wanted to share your story and make sure it's out there, and if anybody stumbles upon it, that's great. Then you've served the purpose. But if you are trying to create a book to earn passive income every single month, then a biography or an autobiography, more specifically, unless you are a very famous celebrity or influential figure, or say for like example, a president, that might sell, of course, because their autobiographies do sell. But if you are, like the rest of us, just trying to create passive income, an autobiography will not sell because people are not searching for that. So You have to either create a book that people are searching for, or if you're going to try to make this book into a book that someone is searching for, I would probably edit it so that it's not so much an autobiography, but maybe either a novel. So it could be a novel, but just based on a true story, if it's exciting enough, or it could be a book that is helping people. So it would be more about what to do, what not to do if you're in this situation. So the problem that you could be solving is how to have custody of your child in a very specific situation. Maybe there are people who are dealing with the same problem. Then you have targeted a very particular audience. And I would probably guess in a market that is not saturated. So you would have very little competition, but you'd be helping solve a problem. And that's what people want. They don't care about our stories. They don't care about us. They don't even care about our books. People are looking for a problem that they want solved. And if you happen to have a solution to their problem, then they will buy your book. So that's one thing. That's the very first thing you need to think about, even before a cover, before doing anything else. What kind of book is it? Is it going to help people, or is it a novel that is just based on a true story? And then either in those directions, you need to focus on what is in demand. If it is going to be a novel, what type of novel does this lean towards? And then you're going to have to target that type of audience that like to read that type of novel. Maybe there's an audience that like to read true story novels about inspiration. Then you would have to target that audience. And how would you target that audience? You would have to let Amazon know by your title. So this title does not tell me anything at all. It doesn't tell me anything at all about what kind of book it is. And that means that your audience does not know either. So your title would have to be changed to explain a little bit what the book is really about. Is it a novel? I would write novel in, like, say, the subtitle. Put in true story novel. I don't know, because I haven't really done research on novels that much, and I don't know what words would be highly searched. That is something you would have to do, but that is just an example. 2.5 weeks or I would not even call it 2.5 weeks. I would maybe say, like you have here, for example, a father's fight for his child, a true story novel based on something, 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 and then add a bunch of keywords. So that would be a title that could be intriguing and has a lot of keywords that people would be possibly searching for. And then you would have to definitely work on your description. Your description has to be somewhat long. It has to not just say a one-line description of the inside of your book. You can say that this book is a tearjerker. It will give you some kind of inspiration. Like, it has to be emotional. Your description has to be more emotional. It has to be a lot longer. And like I said in so many other videos, make sure that it's not one big block of a paragraph. Make sure it's separated into 2-3 lines and then space, and then 2-3 lines and another space, and have bold and have bullet points. So it's an attractive looking description. And even though this is not a medium content book, I would still suggest you create also A+ content, maybe possible images of what could be the story of the book inside, text about the book. So definitely I would work on that. So the first thing I would want to do is find out, is this book, can you change it to become a novel or become a book that is a self-help or nonfiction book that can help people in a similar situation? So that would probably mean rewriting it, which is a good thing, because then it gives you a chance to change your title, create a new ISBN and a new book and change your title. So those are the really most important things. After that, then I would start working on the A+ content, and I would start working on getting reviews. You don't have enough reviews, obviously, and I'm going to guess that these might be people that you know, or maybe not, because I don't think if you know someone, they would give you a 2-star review. But if you do create a good book and then put it on a review platform to get reviews, I'm sure people will like it, and that will help you get your reviews a lot faster. So if you have any questions, write back to me. I'd love to share more. But if anyone has a book that they have published and would like me to look at it and give you some feedback in some direction in how you could get sales or even boost your sales, if your sales are not where you want them to be, then share the link with me. You can share the link below. You can share it on my Facebook. You can DM me. And just let me know, please review this book, and I will be more than happy to.